Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to the show. I am ItsKim. If you've never seen me before, I am a pop culture commentator. You may have seen me around the internet. And welcome to my Hangout stream where we dive into stories that I care about and we try to go dive below the headline, more into the content of what stories actually are, the background of them. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. And if you really, really like my content, please consider joining my membership program that's called Space Angels. It's one price, it's one tier for everybody, and it gives you access to lots of behind the scenes stuff that I have made just for you, just for members. And I would love to see you join. So hello everybody. I am seeing lots of people and I see Shauna it has already started the train of gifting memberships. Thank you very much, Shauna, for your continued support as always. My love to you. You always go so above and beyond, and I appreciate you greatly. And welcome to everybody who is a returning space angel or has just become a space angel for the first time. I'm so happy to have you. I'm just seeing lots of you guys here, just letting everybody kind of come in. Oh, we just got General Scott just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, General. My goodness, that's very, very kind of you. We're already at 10 already. This is awesome. And welcome to new and returning Space Angels. I also just saw Jen Vamp Vegas did a $5 super chat of hippos, which I am a lover of the Canadian heritage moment of house hippos, which I've talked about before. I'm sure my Canadians in the house know what I'm talking about. Um, so thank you very much for that. I really, really do appreciate it. You guys are wonderful. And also thank you, General Scott. Thank you for reminding everyone to smash that like button, subscribe, all that good fun stuff. It's good to have everybody here. So I have 3 stories to go over today. My goodness. 2 are updates, 1 is new. But we're going to start off today with going over the our old reliable at this point, for lack of a better term. Let me do that. There we go. There we go. Ruby Frankie drama. So I do like to just kind of summarize a little bit about these topics before I really begin. I think it's important in case someone isn't aware of the background of a story. The Ruby Frankie drama is, it sounds like it would be something fairly average YouTube drama. Basically, Ruby Frankie, she had a very successful channel called 8 Passengers. It was a family vlog where she documented the lives of herself, her husband, and her 6 children. They were very open about their Mormon faith, which again, there's nothing wrong with having faith in certain religions or whatever, but it was more that her parenting methods were extreme to many, and she experienced a lot of criticism for the choices she made and the things that people saw in her vlog videos. And finally, it ended that she shut down her channel. She had almost, I think, 2.5 million subscribers at that time when she chose to do that. And then she joined up with this lady, Jodi Hildebrandt, um, on her channel, and they continued to make content of something called Connexions, which basically was Jodi's method of therapy. She's a licensed therapist, and she believed that everyone is living in distortion, and coming to her and learning her methods would free you from distortion. Um, there's been a lot of heat on these women because a couple of weeks ago, they were both arrested and charged with what I'm going to call CA. And I hope you can fill in the blanks on that one. Both of these women are in prison. The children in Ruby's care have been taken. And this has now started a legal process of them trying to figure out everything that's happened here, et cetera, et cetera. And I have to stop because I just saw, hi, long live George Harrison. I don't know if you've been here before. I have seen you around in other streams I've been on. I'm so happy to see you here. And you came in and gifted 20 memberships. That is insanely generous of you. Thank you so much for the support. welcome to all of the new angels and returning angels. That is incredibly kind of you. Thank you again so much to Shauna, General Scott, and to Long Live George Harrison. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy you're here in the first place. Okay. So last week, when we talked about this whole Jodi Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie controversy, I was going to say, one of the things we keep hearing over and over again is that it seems like Ruby Franke may have been heavily influenced by Jodi's methods of therapy, because it seems that some of the things that Ruby has gone under fire for are things that Jodi has done in the past. And this has come from people who were previously her client or people who were previously treated by her. Um, and last week we talked about an interview that I watched. It was a podcast on and I'm just going to give it credit right here, the Mormon Stories podcast. My goodness, do I feel like I am living there right now with their content while I try to do my due diligence with this story. And their podcast is incredible. And I want to let you guys know, whatever I talk about, I do my best to do my research and to get all my ducks in a row. And if you're ever curious as to where I find my information, I always have links in the description. For this story, I have put them in a Google Doc, which is down there. So if you ever want to, take a look and see where I'm getting my information, it's there. And in that doc, there are multiple podcasts from the Mormon Stories podcast. If you want to take a look at them, and you are welcome to check those out if you would like. Jessi's interview. And again, I just want to say Jessi identifies with they, them pronouns, and I'm going to do my best to be respectful. If I misgender, it is accidental. I'm trying to learn and be kind. And I think Jessi has been through a lot. And I think Jessi deserves all the respect in the world that we can give them. So Jessi has alleged that in her mind, Jodi is the mastermind. There's been a long time in the media with Ruby Franke drama that Ruby has kind of been seen as enemy number one, essentially. And I mean, I think Ruby still needs to be held accountable for what she's done. But the further I go into this story, the more I realize that this is a lot deeper than just a YouTube channel drama. Not that if there is, you know, issues with parents mistreating children, that it's not serious. I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying on that front. But this has gone so much deeper and so much darker than I ever expected. So this is your trigger warning of what we're going to be going into. Some of what we're going to talk about is kind of funny. Some of what we're going to talk about is very serious. And I will try to give you guys more up-to-date triggers as we go, but just so you are aware, and I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. And hello, YouTube human reviewer. As I have done so with every stream up until this point, I'm doing my best to honor your community guidelines and not to disrespect this platform that you've given me. So words will be censored. I'm doing my best. Or in the words of Elaine, I'm trying. I'm trying. I feel like maybe that's a meme I need to add. Just Elaine being like, I'm trying. Your Honor, I'm trying. If anyone remembers that. So the first thing we have to talk about is a headline that came out last week. And guys, I know the thumbnail for this stream may seem a little bit clickbaity. It's not. This is a real headline. There was a woman who was who was booked around the same time as Jodi and Ruby for what I will call a petty crime, and it looks like they have been released at this time. And so they spent some time in prison with these women. And according to this cellmate, and again, this is alleged, right? I don't know this person. I don't think any of us know this person. But the cellmate described Ruby as almost childlike and almost smitten with Jodi. And I know there's going to be people that think that that's ridiculous, that this is just, it's kind of slander, it's silly, it's people trying to find a headline to talk about. But the thing is, as I said at the beginning of the show, I take great pride in trying to understand stories from a full like spectrum. And one thing stuck out in my mind immediately when I read this, because it came from the Jessi Hildebrandt interview. So I'm going to pull up this clip. And again, credit of this absolutely goes to the Mormon Stories podcast. Please don't claim me. I big fan of the work, but I wanted to share this with you all because I think it's quite a moment. And please let me know if you have any issues with sound. I will do my best to correct it as quickly as possible. So, are we ready? Let's go.
Established that Jodi Hildebrandt has used a lot of homophobic, anti-LGBT, almost hate speech in her therapeutic practices. Yeah. And then you combine that with reports of how she treated men specifically in her therapy practices.
This is the host of the podcast.
And then you combine that with the information,
all the awards,
that she apparently has a real history of dual relationships and inappropriate relationships with the women in the couples that she's counseled. There's a lot
I can
of
confirm this. I've
wondering
seen a lot of
whether
about this.
A lot of her unethical therapeutic practices stem from some sort of repressed same-sex sexuality, which we are LGBTQ affirming on Mormon Stories podcast.
Affirming.
But I think it's fair when you see so much hatred towards the LGBTQ community, sometimes that is actually just repressed, same-sex sexuality. Is there any information you have about that, or is that just purely something you can't speak to really?
I can't really speak to it. It's something that, I thought it's all speculation.
Yeah. Okay.
I've thought that since I was a kid.
That what?
That potentially she was queer.
Okay.
And I am queer. So I'm for it. I think it's great. It's real great. Waters are warm. And I have no idea. She did say something
Get
to
ready,
me
guys.
when I was living with her that was very strange, because I've known I was queer since I was like 7, and it was like experimenting with girls and friends since I was 7 or 8, and she knew about that, and it was very bad. It was very evil.
That word is used
a lot she
when it comes
said
to
something to me. She had this friend, her name's Bev.
I feel bad for this woman.
She said something to the effect of, yes, being gay is evil and pleasures of the flesh and yada yada. But if I were to have sexual relationships with my friends, if we were to, it would be different, because there's a deep emotional connection there, and that's different.
There we go.
We were sitting in someone's living room and she said this, and I was just like, what? Yeah, that's called being gay. What do you think gay relationships are like? They are emotional.
Isn't that fascinating, guys? So it's evil if other people do it. But if Jodi does it, it's different, right? Right? Okay. So that's why the only reason that I bring up this headline, because I would love to say that it's just tabloid fodder, that it's ridiculous, that it has no basis in reality. It's sensationalism. It's a business it's like a news article, journalism company trying to find a headline to shock people to get them into their story. But yeah. I can't speak to anything specific, and I'm not saying that it's true in this case, but in my experience, sometimes people that have the most hate for LGBTQIA 2S plus people are the ones that are furthest in the closet. And I'm just going to leave that there. Hope you guys get what I mean. Yeah. I'm not going to read your comment, or I'll have to read it censored, but is it Cascadian Roots? Said, what is that called? Do as I say, not as I do. Is there a phrase for that, or is it just being a piece of... Yeah, I think it's an interesting take. I don't even know. Yeah, wild. Wild. Yep. Harrison, what the? Yep. And that was the thing. And that's why, like, this is why I spend the time and I watch all of these interviews and I do all of this, because sometimes things connect and they connect in the strangest ways, but I think it's important. Yeah. Emily, what? You guys are funny. You're cracking me up. I have to keep going, but like, oh, I'm glad you guys you see what I mean here, because it's just it's a moment. It's a moment. All right. So we're gonna keep going here. Take a look. Oh yes, a producer sister. I do have to. I want to put this up because this was something that we talked about a little bit. I didn't realize that this was a thing. Like, you get to pick your roommate when you go to jail. What? Is that a thing? Has anyone here been to jail and got to pick their roommate? I'm just curious. Story time. To me, college. Yeah, this isn't college. You don't get to like pick your roommate. Like, come on. Oh, Amanda Panda, thank you. I know you've been such a big supporter for so long. I'm so happy you're here for a live. It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I hope it's a good show. I'm doing my best. It's a lot. I'm assuming shotgun stop fuck. I know this is a serious thing, but I feel like this is also kind of one of these stories that when we find laughs, we need to take them. Because if we don't, we're just going to cry through the whole thing. So, yes, as producer sister said, find appropriate humor. I don't know if it's appropriate. It's probably horribly inappropriate. I'm sure there's probably people like, how dare she say that?
Thinking you get to pick your roommate.
She's so offensive. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I am going to move on to today's news, because I was hoping to go deeper into this, but this morning, Jodi and Ruby were supposed to be having court dates, and the court date was specifically about them potentially getting bail. That court date has been delayed. It happened like moments before it was supposed to happen. So that has been rescheduled, I believe, in October. So for now, they're both in jail. They're both in jail, and I don't know if they have a shared cell now or what, but they're both going to be in jail till October. And on the other hand of things, there was a hearing this morning in juvenile court. And in juvenile court, there's no, like, you can't call in because it involves minors. There's very little information that is shared about those things. But basically, there was a hearing. Ruby and her husband were both present. They have set a pretrial hearing to do with the welfare of the children, and that is happening on October 17th. So basically, we had a lot of, yeah, we're going to court, but things are happening later today. That's basically the summary of what's gone on here. And I have a link to the summary of that in the Google Doc that is linked in the description, if you want to read more about it. But honestly, there really isn't much for me to report, which I was kind of like, that's a bummer. I was hoping I'd have more to give you guys, but that is what it is. Oh, sorry, I just seeing Emily just said, wait, what about juvenile court? Who? It's because when Ruby was arrested, the children were taken from her care. She no longer, at this point, on my understanding, has custody, basically. And the father doesn't at this time either. So there's conversation as far as where the custody of the children are going to be going, what is best for for the kids. And because it involves minors, they don't let people in. There was a call-in number that you could call in for the other hearing that was supposed to be happening this morning that had to do with the bail. So you could be approved to hear that, but you can't do anything with the kids. And so that's why I don't really have much more information on that one. Long Live George Harrison just asked, has the husband been charged? At this time, no. And that is a very controversial point within this story right now. But the context of this right now is that Ruby and her husband have not been together for a while. They've been separated for a long time. And Kevin's attorney has alluded that their separation had something to do with Jodi. And Kevin has been taking his cue from Ruby, trying to follow her requests. And that has meant that he hasn't seen the children in months. And so any current day CA, he has not been involved with, allegedly. Now, that doesn't mean that other stuff didn't happen. And part of the reason that this hearing was delayed this morning is because the attorneys are basically saying they are getting insane amounts of discovery right now that they need to go through. So if there's a lot of discovery, if there's a lot happening, who's to say there won't be charges? Who's to say that there might be more charges against Jodi or Ruby? We don't know. We don't know right now, but it's a very complicated situation. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Kevin later on. I have 2 other points now when it comes to this story that I have to go through. And the last point, we circle back a bit to Kevin. So we will get more into that. I hope that answers your question. Does anyone else have any questions right now that I can see if I can answer? Because I know that this is a bit of a, for a story that was just supposed to be like YouTube drama, we've gone like off the deep end. You can almost say we got off the bunk bed, we just off the bunk bed, picked our roommate, All right. Let me take a look here. I'm just double checking your chat here, seeing everybody. Oh my goodness. So many faces I recognize, and I don't want to stop and say hello to everybody because I'll go off topic for like a half hour. So we'll do that at what I call halftime, basically. Is Jodi married? I have heard that she is, but I don't know enough about that part of her life, to be honest with you. I really don't. And I don't want to speak to it one way or the other, Shauna, but I will definitely look into that and try to give you more of an answer on that point. I think part of the issue is there's a lot of conversation when it comes to Jodi and the way that she treats men and her, a lot of people feel, I'm using this word because I feel like it's appropriate based on the research I've done and what I've heard, and in my opinion, she does seem to be a bit of a misandrous. So I don't know. Ray, yes, and that's Ray just said, I believe she's divorced. Didn't Jessi say she was divorced? And I'm remembering that, but I couldn't remember if there was a remarried or what. I don't know. Sorry.
I did a quick Google search, and that's what I'm seeing is divorced with 2 kids.
Okay, producer sister just did a quick search and is seeing divorced with 2 children. So that's what we know.
But that's just a rough Google search.
Yeah, but that's a rough. I haven't seen anything listed legally or anything like that. So, all right. So, the next thing that I want to talk about is a continuation from last week. Oh, no. I forgot something. This is why I keep notes. I'm sorry. So the other thing I did want to mention is with these new court dates, something else has happened with this. We have a new character who is entering the chat, and his name is Judge John Walton. And he is the new judge that is overseeing both of these women's charges. But we've had a lot of people wondering what exactly is going on here because, well, how do I word this? It's convenient. It's very convenient because this judge has ties to the university that Kevin Franke taught at. And this is also the same university that Jodi's prior client, Adam, who we'll talk about in a moment, was kicked out of. And they seem to have a lot of LDS ties, allegedly. So, yeah, we have a new fun judge up in here. And as I've written in my notes, I don't have a reason at this time to say that he is a corrupt judge. And I would never want to insinuate that because for all I know, he's an incredible judge. For all I know, he's a great person. I don't know. Like, he could honestly be the best thing for this case. But yeah, I have to agree with Rando here. Based on what I've seen, I've been a little bit concerned about that. I would not. People are asking questions. Okay, we'll put it that way. We will put it that way. Some people are not thrilled, but it's awkward. It's very awkward. So we will see what happens. But yeah, that's who's overseeing this case. So this is going to be fun. Yeah. Okay. So the next part of this that I wanted to mention is actually a continuation from last week. And I want to be clear about something. I am behind on this part of the story in my coverage on this channel. And it is specifically the story of Jodi's past client, Adam Paul Steed. Adam Paul Steed did an interview last week with the Mormon Stories podcast, the same podcast from the clip that we just showed you a few moments ago with Jessi. It was a 6-hour interview. And I sat down and I tried to watch it. I have notes here just to kind of explain everything. Jodi at one point lost her license to practice as a licensed therapist. And she lost that license because of the mistreatment of Adam Paul Steed. But that is only a part of his story. And there's a huge part of this that is very important for context. And this is going to be my first big trigger warning when it comes to CSA. So prepare yourself, or you may want to switch off for probably 15 minutes or so and come back to us. But there is no way for me to say this in a way that won't potentially trigger some people. So in this interview, Adam sat down and shared his own story of CSA because he is known as one of the main whistleblowers against the Boy Scouts of America affiliated with the LDS Church. And I'm saying that specifically because I know not all Boy Scouts chapters, I guess, are affiliated with LDS. But in this case, and in thousands of other cases that relate to this case, it was. So I don't want to ignore it or minimize it. Basically, for those of you who don't know, leaders who were supposed to guide these kids, protect these kids, and teach these kids, some of them did the most monstrous things that you can do to a child. And Adam was unfortunately one of them. And he explains some of his experience. I went back to try to watch it a second time to try to get through it, and I couldn't. I even tried to summarize it and tell my husband, and I couldn't get through it. So if I can't say it to him, I certainly do not feel comfortable at this point saying it to all of you, because the internet lives forever. And quite bluntly, I've cried enough on the internet as it is. But Adam made the decision to become a whistleblower to protect other kids. And alongside his family, they also fought to change the statute of limitations for CSA and SA in the state of Idaho, and they won. This man has so much strength and he's been forced to be strong in situations he never should have had to deal with. But this is who this man is and what had happened before he became a client of Jodi Hildebrandt. And that's so crucially important to keep in mind. So I did not, in all transparency, watch all of Adam's interview. I'm not at a place right now where safely I feel like I can do that. Just where I am in my journey and where I am in my health. But again, that podcast is in the doc. You are welcome to go check it out and take a look at it. But I did not want to ignore this part of his story because I think it is so crucially important to the overall, essentially, plot of this whole mess. And I feel like it's being ignored. I'm not seeing it in a lot of reporting, but it's connected. So basically, all of these things happened with the Boy Scouts. He, along with his family, fought to change laws. They won. After that, he got married. And then he started to see Jodi at the recommendation of his bishop. Based on what I've read, he was unfairly characterized as an ABUSer. His privacy was violated. Confidential information was leaked. And he was kicked out of his university, that same university that the judge is affiliated with. And his marriage was ruined. And Adam believes that it is possible that Jodi's efforts to destroy his reputation were possibly motivated in retaliation for what happened with the Boy Scouts and how it affected the LDS Church. I can't say that for certain. Nobody can. But I can say from what I've seen, I believe him. I believe him 100% that is possible. Because I don't know how many of you are aware of how big that case was. But I have a clip here where he talks about it, and I wanted to share this with you. And I think it's important that you see him speak. Because this is a man who has not been believed. This is a man who was hurt in one of the most horrific ways possible and had an entire institution protect the people who hurt him in the name of God. And as I've talked on this show before, religious trauma is real, and it is very often misunderstood and invalidated, and I don't do that. I'm not here for that. So I have a clip here that I want to show you guys. I do have to mute one part of it. I'm going to do my best to do that. So if you see my mouse kind of floating around, that's why. The word that I am bleeping is a word for an adult who is interested in children and does horrible things. So I'm sure you all know what word that is, just for full transparency. So the image you're seeing on the screen is the thumbnail for the podcast. You are welcome to check that out in the description, in the Google Doc. Thank you, Mormon Stories Podcast, again for your incredible work. And I hope that this helps with elevating Adam, because I think he's been silenced long enough. That's just my opinion. So here we go.
I don't know how a church that taught about family and love and truth of Christ turned into this global institution.
Yeah.
Like, how did the hypocrisy turn to that? Why did they betray all the people that tried to believe in the Christ stuff? Like, how did they do that? Like,
Yeah.
now it's like toxic to go to church because there's so much of this covered up stuff, and the church became the richest church in the world. Hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe, who knows? But no, I got called by Ted Kosnov, Tim Kosnov. I think he has 27,000 victims he represented in the federal case with scouting.
Big attorney.
And he said, I feel like my life's in danger because, like, He said that the laws that were in California would make a victim have like $1 million or something, or a couple million, and they should have that because it takes a hell of a lot to get your innocence back and feel vindicated when it's been hid by the institutions that are supposed to protect you and love you. And he said that not in his lifetime would the statute of the church had such control over the laws in Utah to keep victims from coming forward, that not in his lifetime would that change. That because of the statutes, they could never come forward. And I, as a victim, and I know that the craziness leaves you when you're validated and the bad people are held responsible. And when in my bad, but if you're an institution hiding it, you're just as bad, especially if you're doing it to thousands and thousands of people for money.
I think that sums it up very well. And that's why people need to hear him. Because what he has seen, I don't even know how to. I can't summarize it. I can't tell you his pain. All I can tell you is that pain, from what I saw in that interview, I watched about an hour and a half of it. It's so present. It's so present. And he has handled this so well. And it's just, I don't want to say that he is a strong person, because I know, like in my case, when people are like, you're so strong because you went through this and everything else, I'm like, I didn't want to be. I didn't have a choice. And he didn't have a choice. And one of the things that he discloses at the beginning of that interview is that when he went to that studio to sit down and do that interview, there were threats left on his car windshield. Still. Again, this was not what I was expecting when I dug into a YouTube vlogger mom drama. But here we are. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The bottom line is, with this whole case, this article says that there were 84,000 people who filed claims against the Boy Scouts for CSA. Based on my research, that number is low. But it ended up in an $850 million lawsuit. That is how huge this is. And he is synonymous with this. So, yeah. You got it. You got it, Gamer Ducko. You got it. This isn't drama. We're fully in a dangerous place right now with this. I am expecting to be demonetized with what I'm saying right now. It hasn't happened, but I am fully expecting it. It's really, really sad. And that's the thing. They've tried, Molly, you're right. They have tried so hard to break this person, and he is still here and he is still fighting. And that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I also really just want to elevate him, because I know this community. I know many of you got to know me through coverage that I did of other cases, some that involved men who were survivors, who were victims. Abuse knows no gender. It doesn't. And this is a perfect example of why we cannot ignore male victims or female victims. We don't do that. And we need to hold on to that energy. So this is where it gets probably the darkest. We're going to move on. But just so you all know, when you hear this man's name and the whole story isn't told, and even I'm not telling the whole story because I can't stomach it. I can't sit through it because it's too painful for me. Just know he deserves our respect, and he deserves to be heard. So my respect to you, Adam. Whew. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is I saw somebody actually mention it in the comments, and I knew we were going to get to this. Is the last part of the Ruby Frankie updates that I'm going to be doing today. So both of Ruby Frankie's sisters, I think she only has 2 sisters, but 2 of her sisters have spoken out about the abuse charges on their YouTube channels. And I found it interesting. Because the long and short of it is the sisters say that they didn't know the severity because they had been cut off. They didn't know what was happening with the kids because they hadn't seen them in forever. One of the sisters, Julie, was quoted saying, "We all felt weird about this Jodi lady. Like we weren't comfortable at all. We didn't like the teachings that Ruby was bringing to family functions. And we were this close to telling Ruby, if you come to our family events, we do not want to hear what you have been learning through Connexions because we don't like it." And then Ruby's sister Bonnie heavily blamed Kevin. Remember how I said we were going to circle back to him? Yeah, we're back at Kevin. Basically, Bonnie is blaming Kevin because he was the one that had legal right to do something, whereas she, as the aunt, did not. So she was kind of like shooting back at people that were saying, "Why didn't you do something to protect your nieces and nephews? Why didn't you take more of a stance?" And she basically said, like, "Well, what good am I going to do if I'm in jail? Because I did something illegal." Kevin could have done something, and he didn't. So I thought that was interesting because Kevin's attorney heavily alluded that Kevin was in a place where he was trying to respect Ruby's wishes that were heavily influenced by Jodi. So again, we're going back down this rabbit hole and we keep ending up at Jodi. I'm not trying to start a witch hunt for anybody. Like I'm not trying to like make her enemy number 1 on my channel or anything like that. But just like the 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 pardon the pun, but the connections here that all lead back to her are starting to get pretty wild. That's all I'm gonna say. It seems like she's an issue here, no matter where we go. So that is the drama of the Jodi Ruby saga since Wednesday. It hasn't even been a week. It hasn't even been a week and all this stuff happens. It's just like, what is happening? Ugh. So I do have 2 other stories I want to talk about, but I want to give you guys a minute to sound off. Because I know I'm seeing lots of communication in the chat. I'm very happy to see that. I do want to again encourage you all, if you have not subscribed, to consider doing so. It really helps out my channel as well as liking the stream. If you are interested in becoming a member for additional content and joining my Space Angels community, you can do that as well. I would love to see you all join this community and continue to build this beautiful thing that we're building. So J-Lo, hi J-Lo, said, "I don't believe the sisters. They knew something was seriously wrong, but it would affect their channels if they spoke out about it. Everyone failed those poor babies. You know what? I think you could be right. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about them specifically. I can't speak to like their character or their motivations or anything like that because literally this is the first time I've really heard of either of them. But I think we're gonna see a lot of passing the buck essentially here. There's gonna be a lot of but them, but them, but them. So I guess kind of interesting. Kelly Barnes says, "I have the same conclusion about Jodi as well. I'm just waiting for more people to step forward." Yep, I think we're gonna see more. But again, like it's important to remember that like look at what happened to Adam. Right? People that are going to come forward, they have every right to be scared. They have every right to be nervous. And I don't blame them in the least for treading carefully. Yeah. Yeah. Anita said, "From the first time I heard Jessi's experience with Jodi, I wondered if she was deflecting self-hate on at least the very least Jessi, but I'm afraid that she ever was a therapist." Right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to, yeah. It's concerning. I don't understand how Jodi got her license back. That's been the big thing for me that I do not understand. But yeah. So that's the sadness of this story. Now, I have two other things I want to mention. Whew. Okay. And before I say anything, I have this written because that's what I do when I talk about things that upset me or I don't want to forget something or speak out of turn. But I know that people are going to be asking, so I wanted to say something regarding the allegations that have been made against Russell Brand. I want to be clear. Many of you got to know me through covering other cases and following evidence, and that is how I form opinions when it comes to any case. I want to see the facts, I want to see the receipts, I want to see the evidence before I come to any conclusion whatsoever. But I'm also seeing a lot of what I would consider to be ignorant comments regarding this situation. And it's the same sound bites that we hear really with most allegations that are laid. Things like, why are they coming forward now? Or why didn't they go to the police? But the facts of this case are that multiple of them tried. One of them did an R kit that has DNA evidence. One tried to pursue legal action and was threatened. There are emails, text messages. There's proof of Russell ordering a car to pick up a 16-year-old girl from school, to skip school to be with him when he was 31. And this, there's also been comedians who have spoken out against him for years, some who have been terrified to say his name. And that's what we know before an official police investigation has been opened. Reporters, it was announced, spent 4 years looking into this, which really was before he was doing a lot of the podcast stuff or his talk show that he does. I know a lot of people really, really love him because of his views and his pursuit of exposing truth, particularly events that happened 3 years ago. But this even predates that. Something else I want to mention, because this is something that kind of came to my mind that surprised me, and I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about it, is specifically Katy Perry. So Katy is Russell's ex-wife, and she has made veiled comments about him since the divorce, one in 2013. She told Vogue that she had initially taken a lot of responsibility for their split until she found out the real truth. She said she would keep this truth, that she could not necessarily disclose it, and she would keep it safe for a rainy day. Around that time, she also put out her record Prism, and on that record there is a song called By the Grace of God, where she talks about the depression and the ideation that she experienced through that time. And there are lyrics in that song about secrets being locked up and protected in very extreme ways, that the universe would call the bluff, not her bluff, the bluff, and that the truth would set you free. And this all came out before Russell did anything to do with any of that. And I can say that I have heard rumors about him for years, keeping in mind that this is hearsay. I've never met the man. So, I mean, take that as you will. Russell is innocent until proven guilty. But I think we need to take a step back and allow due process. And I don't support attacking these women. It's fine if people have doubts. But when you really sit back and look at the evidence that we know of, and I bet that there is more, this does not look good for him. When I took the stance I did with Johnny Depp, it was because I did extensive research and followed evidence that made it into the courtroom and evidence that did not, on both sides. And at the end of the day, I saw, and also also wanted to mention that prior to the case, the court case, I had not really picked a side. I was trying to stay as neutral as possible and to continue my own investigation. And the conclusion that I came to was that it was a couple that had a very toxic relationship. Neither party was fully innocent. However, one in that party had been arrested for DV before. One in that party was under investigation for perjury. And one in that party was on tape admitting to starting physical fights and shaming the other for their reaction to physical abuse. I am interested to hear Russell's side of the story. But his side of the story cannot be just that it's a conspiracy. If we're going to demand evidence from the survivors, I think it's fair to demand it on his side as well. Until there's more concrete information, I'm not going to be doing any more coverage into this story. I understand how emotional it is for some people, and my goal is never to divide us. I want to bring people together. I want to find things that we have in common because I believe we live in a world right now that is incredibly divided and is trying to divide us. And we've lost the ability to have discussion without people freaking out, hurling insults. And I don't think that that's okay. And I'm already seeing a lot of toxic dialogue surrounding this case. And monsters exist. Whether Russell is one of them is yet to be proven. And I'm going to continue to look at all the information to the best of my ability with a neutral gaze. And I hope that we can all do the same. And if it comes to it, that we can come to a place where we can agree to disagree and allow legal systems to work. I don't want to hear people accusing me of not believing him because he's a man. This show, I have defended a man fiercely that came forward with allegations. I defended Johnny after doing all of my research. And there's a lot of women that I believe too. There's a lot of survivors. I believe non-binary people. I believe women. I believe men. Until I have a reason not to. And I think that that's fair. And I hope that even if you disagree with my opinion, if you're in my audience and you disagree, that you can at least respect where I get my opinion from and how I come to it. And I hope that that is okay with everybody here. That you guys understand where I'm coming from. We just got a super chat. Thank you so much to Jesus Loves You. He does. $10. Thank you very much. It's very, very kind of you. Thank you for the support, guys. I appreciate that. I just know that this is unfortunately, I can see the culture war brewing. And I don't like that. I don't like that. 100% Gamer Ducko. Yes, Hoglaw. Reasonable minds can differ. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thank you, guys. Okay, so last serious topic before we do our halftime and we do our funnies. If you've never been to this show before, I usually go through the headlines that I'm interested in, give my opinion, we dig a bit deeper, we go into the little nitty-gritty things, and then we kind of talk for a little bit, and then we look at something kind of funny or fun because the world is depressing and sometimes we all need like a breather just to laugh or think about something different that isn't super duper depressing. So producer sister, my producer and partner in crime, who is on the other side of my camera, she puts together all of that for us. So I never see any of it. I have no idea what's coming. I absolutely react with the same authenticity that you do. I have no idea what's coming. And it's always really funny when like I come down to the office and she's already giggling because she's putting together what it is we're gonna see. And I'm like, oh gosh, like what is coming? What is coming? Actually, I was even laughing because she came to me the other day and she was like, I have one like that's kind of related to Christmas. Should we save it? My answer is yes. Yes. Yes, I'm here for.
Place at Christmas, but it's not about.
Yeah, it takes place at Christmas, but it's not about Christmas. It's like Die Hard, but Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Oh, thank you, Michael. 100% on point. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, my friend. Oh my goodness. All right. So, last thing I wanted to mention, and you may have mentioned it or seen it in the thumbnail. Give me a second. Let me go back to my lovely thumbnail here. I hate making thumbnails. We have a little ukulele in the corner. And for those of you that don't know, maybe haven't been here for a while, I did a lot of coverage on a certain YouTube drama story that involved someone that I affectionately refer to as Ukulele Lady. Because anytime I said her name, I immediately got demonetized. I literally could not utter her name. And it got to the point I couldn't even put her in thumbnails anymore. Just her face. It was immediate. Immediate. Which I mean, it was silly, and I won the appeals on all of them. Oh, we just got limited. We got limited. Requesting review already. That's all right. It's better than nothing. Anyway. Yeah, so Ukulele Lady. Pain of my existence trying to talk about this without offending people at YouTube. I wanted to bring this up because last week, it happened very quickly too. Like we found out it was happening, and it did within 24 hours. Swoop, who we have followed quite closely here on this channel. Swoop is a documentary filmmaker who has been covering the saga of Ukulele Lady and everything related. Put out the 4th part of her documentary series on the case last week. And it was an interview with Ukulele Lady's ex-husband, Joshua David Evans. So, I wanted to talk about it briefly because I thought that the interview was fantastic. I really did. And it was such a unique situation where this is a person who was silenced, harassed, shamed, and basically bullied off the internet a couple of years ago by Ukulele Lady's fans. Some truly horrific stuff. And in the part before this one of this documentary series, basically the person who accused him of these horrible things got exposed hard. It was a dumpster fire of like just, you know what it honestly felt like to me, like watching the part 3, like when you watch a car accident. Like there's one fender bender and then another fender bender and then another fender bender, and it just keeps going and it creates like a chain reaction. That basically was what happened. And this individual that accused Joshua of doing terrible things had no evidence, embellished a lot of it and misrepresented it, and then he tried to use it for fame. It was very interesting. Not that I expect anything less of Swoop, but I feel like this interview was a masterclass in honesty and accountability. And I did want to talk about this specifically because Swoop has gotten some pushback for having Joshua on her show. Some people didn't like that because Joshua's not a perfect person. But that was part of this, was that he was sitting down to answer for some of the things that he had done that were inappropriate and offensive. And he sat there and he took accountability for all of them. Swoop went at him. At points, it was brutal. Like, it was like, oh, like you felt really bad for him. But at the same time, yeah, very awkward questions. But at the same time, Swoop also took the initiative to have a was it a crisis counselor?
Yes.
On set with Joshua, so that it was a safe environment. And I thought that was just incredible. And I was so happy to see that disclosed. Yeah, it was very, as producer sister said, it was very responsible. And I think Swoop perfectly showed the difference between accountability and cancel culture. I really appreciated seeing Joshua clarify certain things that had been said. And honestly, even where he made mistakes, I think it showed how human he was. And it was a reminder to everyone that nobody's perfect. And even when you start off with the best of intentions, sometimes things go sideways. And sometimes it happens in a way that you like, it gets complicated. It gets very complicated very quickly. And I think one example that I wanted to bring up here that I thought was very, very interesting was Johnny is the individual who accused Joshua of G-wording him, is how I'll put it. And there were some things that he alleged, like that they had a coffee date alone together, which when you hear the other side of the story, it was Joshua was working at a car show. Johnny showed up unannounced with his parents. Joshua was like, "Hey, good to see you, because I know you as a person. I know of your existence. On my break, let's get a coffee and talk in public, in the food court." That's that's not what the G word means. It's not. I'm sorry. It was very awkward. But one of the things that Joshua wanted to clarify that I thought was very important to clarify was that one of the allegations that Johnny alleged against Joshua was that Johnny came out to Joshua and that Joshua responded saying basically, don't tell your parents, and tried to make it into this that Joshua was a terrible person. And Joshua tried to explain that this is the other thing. Apparently, when Johnny told the story, I got the impression that did we lose internet? Sorry, my computer just kind of okay. I got the impression based on Johnny's description of what happened that it was kind of like private. And I don't know if that's just an assumption on my part, but like they were having a private conversation. And then when Joshua talked about it, it sounded like it was more like a meet and greet. So like I can only imagine like you're at a meet and greet, you're signing autographs, you're talking to fans, and then someone comes up to you and says something that is like, you know, like I'm gay, I'm coming out of the closet, and Joshua was like, okay, like what do I say? What am I supposed to do? And from his perspective, growing up in the South, and he was also under the impression that maybe Johnny's parents weren't super supportive of him, that it's a big deal. It's a big deal for a lot of people in the South for that to happen in some cultures. And it can be dangerous. And I mean, I even knew people when I was growing up that it was like we didn't tell certain people about someone's sexuality until they had moved out for their own protection. So they didn't end up homeless. So there weren't other issues at play because it affected marriages, it affected people's religions, it affected so many different things. And that was the spirit that Joshua was coming from. And I thought that was, I'm happy he got to have his moment to clarify things and to clear the air and to speak his side of the story. And it does seem like at this point that Swoop is wrapping up her coverage on this, and I don't blame her. This has been a long road, and it's time to move on from this. And if legal action is going to happen with any of the victims, the survivors, that's up to them. And I'm going to continue to watch this story, and if I see any updates, I'll let you know. But I think for now, it almost feels like this story is coming to a little bit of a close right now, unless something else really breaks. But that's where we're at. So those are the big stories I wanted to talk about. We had Ruby and Jodi. We had Russell. And we had Ukulele Lady. And now we're at halftime. Oh, I knew that was going to take time. That was an hour. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I thought it was interesting, like when I was writing my script out and everything, and just how much there was to go over. And it's always hard to when you're talking about serious topics. And a part of the reason I know you guys like to have me stream on Monday is because Monday sucks. And sometimes I feel really bad when I have to like come on here and talk about like really depressing stuff. And I know that you guys are coming here because you want to have like a good time. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. So I think that's why one thing I do want to start prepping is I have a stream deck that I have not fully set up yet, and I'm still learning how to use it. And one thing I'd like to do with that stream deck is hook it up with memes, if I can make that happen, because I am a neurodivergent person. And I speak my second language is memes. My second language is they intertwine. It just happens. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, like one I shared with you guys last week that is one of my favorites is this baby.
Insufficient funds. You ain't got no money. Woo.
Woo. And sometimes that stuff just kind of comes up. So I think it's interesting and it's fun. And one thing I would like to do is I think we're going to organize a members only stream where we're going to go through a bunch of the memes that I refer to regularly, as well as ones you may never have seen. And it's going to be the moments where I explain the background of them. And so when they come on the regular show, if you've been in the members only, you kind of get that extra context and that kind of sneak peek of what's coming. And if you have a lot of questions about what the jokes are, like this is going to be the stream for you. We're going to go through it and have a lot of fun with it. So I think it's going to be the meme stream. It's going to be the meme stream, and it's going to be for Space Angels only. So if you would like to be a part of that stream, you would need to join membership. So it's a lot of, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I think we're going to have a good time. I already have a few that are popping in my head that I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to find that from back in the day and stuff. I think like Linda, I know you just said fire. Yeah. I need to find a shot at love with Tila Tequila. Because I feel like we need, hey girl, hey. Hey girl, hey. I don't know why, but I always think of you because I feel like we say that to each other a lot. Oh, Michael, nothing. My love language is food. Oh gosh. Why is the food? Oh my goodness. Also, Jesus loves you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for becoming a space angel. I will say to anyone who has become a space angel today for the first time, if you go on the main page of my channel, there is a playlist there called Space Angels Only. And that is all stuff that is just for you guys that you can check out. There is hours and hours and hours and hours of content there that I've put up, and you are welcome to enjoy all of it. It's been some fun. And the thing is too, like one of the nice things about membership is sometimes I feel like I can be a little bit more free with what I'm saying because I don't worry as much. Oh, we're back to being monetized. We're back to fully being monetized. They took the appeal. We are no longer limited. Thank you, YouTube. I'm trying. And that's like another one. Like, for those of you that don't know, when I covered the Johnny Depp trial, there were a lot of jokes that came out of that, particularly to do with one of Amber Heard's lawyers, Elaine. There was one point in the trial where she was attempting to get a line of questioning going, if I remember correctly, and there was constant objections. And she finally just looked at the judge and she's like, I'm trying. So sometimes I feel like with YouTube, I'm like, I'm trying so hard. Yes, Brandon, I love memes. That's my third language. Yes. Amanda, yes, I love to shot at love. I have a great love for, I think it was in like the first episode or second episode one of the guys, I think his name was Ashley, and he was annoyed with one of the other contestants, and he just looks at him. He's like, "You're pissing everybody off." And the guy just looked back at him and goes, "Who am I pissing off?" And Ashley just goes, "Everybody. Pissing off everybody." And that became like a huge joke in my friend group. Just like in real life, we always would just be like, "Everybody. Everybody." So I don't know. I need to see if I can find that one too, because that always just broke me. I don't know why. It was just so funny to me. Oh my goodness. Oh, Diesel, yes. The whole one of the things I did in the members only section was we covered Eurovision. Which for those of you that don't know, Eurovision is a massive music competition in Europe that involves multiple countries, usually at least 35 countries or more. They all send an original song and a performer, and then they all battle it out. It's like a mix. The best way I can describe it quickly is it's like a mix between American Idol and the Olympics. If you can kind of imagine what that would be like. And Eurovision is one of these places where sometimes you get incredible production value, some of the best songs you've ever heard. Some of them go like diamond type level platinum. Some of them actually do transfer over into the States, like they end up on like in North America, they end up on our radio and things like that. But there's also a side of Eurovision that is absolute lunacy. And I love both. I love both. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to watch, and it's truly an experience. And if you like music at all, I highly recommend following this competition. So for that, my coverage will likely be starting on that probably in February on my members only section, because that's when countries start selecting the songs and the artists to go. So we start to get an idea of what the entries are going to look like, and then we start to see what how the performances are going to look, and then they all battle it out in May. And we're going to Sweden this year. It's going to be in Sweden because last year, one of my favorite artists of all time ever, Loreen, won for the second time. She is the second person in all of Eurovision history to win twice. This competition has been going for more than 60 years. And we did live streams of the actual Eurovision events. And then I also did reacts to every song that was entered in the competition. So I watched them on camera for the first time, reacted to them in real time, and shared that with you guys. Yes, Australia is a part of Eurovision. They got invited. And yeah, Australia's been killing it. Australia actually does. They kill it every year. I'm always so amazed at what they bring. Yes, Ray, I'm planning on doing another one, because the thing is, for me, like, I find like January, February to be a very depressing time of year, because I don't really feel like there's a huge amount to look forward to. I know some people are like, what's it called? They're very into like Valentine's Day and they look forward to that. I'm not. I'm kind of over it. But the thing is, it's like January begins and it's like, and Eurovision season has begun. And that's always kind of the thing that takes me through, the winter into the spring and gives me something to look forward to. Right. What do you mean? Australia is clearly Europe. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So that's kind of that's a thing that happens in membership. So I apologize if I'm a bit distracted. My producer's sister just had to leave the room for a second. I just want to make sure everything is okay. Also wanted to say a big thank you to General Scott. Thank you for the PayPal that you sent me. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for your support as always and your encouraging words. It means so much. And anything that comes through the PayPal goes back into the channel pretty much immediately. It pays for like subscriptions of things that I need to do to make this work. It goes into tech. It goes into payments for tech. All that type of stuff helps keep the lights on for me here. And it's very helpful. So thank you very much on that one. Let me double checking. I think everybody's good. I think everyone is good. All right. It's like I don't want to start the funnies until producer sister comes back. Hope everything's okay. I just realized Lacey isn't really in camera. She is here. She is sleeping. For any of you who have been here, who've never been here before, down here is my baby, my partner, my little toy poodle. This is Lacey. I say like partner is in partner in crime because she comes with me everywhere. And yes, she is very fluffy right now. And I wanted to point her out because I honestly don't know if she's going to be here for stream. If I do a stream on Wednesday, it's grooming day. She's going to get her hair done. So it's always this like the week of she's always just so fluffy, so fluffy. And I don't know what it is, but it's like at the 4-week mark, it's like she just poofs. She just like, I don't know what happens. It's like one day she looks like she was groomed yesterday, and then the next day she looks like she hasn't been groomed in 6 months. And I'm like, I'm trying. Oh my goodness. Yes, Lacey in the house. Lacey in the house. Lacey in the house sleeping. Alrighty. I'm just going to double check one thing here quickly. Oh, cool. All right. I did want to ask you guys, so as it looks like the ukulele lady story is closing, and I'm not planning on covering Russell in depth until there is an actual like full investigation going on. What stories would you guys like me to cover? Because I'm curious about that, because I know like a lot of you know me because I've covered Britney Spears stuff, and we are absolutely going to be digging into her book when that comes out, and really dissecting that. That's definitely going to be happening. But I also like to do other stuff other than just Britney, as much as I love her. It's I don't want to just be in one box that I can only talk about one person. So I'm just curious if there was any stories that you guys are really into right now that you're following that you'd like to see more content on. Let me know, because I would love to know. I would love to know. So I'm just checking the chat here. Is Katy Perry a robot? I know she had that weird like eye twitch thing that happened. Like her eyes started blinking weird, but I think she actually has some type of like an eye condition, if I'm remembering this correctly. I could be remembering like absolutely nothing, but I don't believe that Katy Perry is a robot. I don't. I believe she's a person. Ray, it's not going to be Meghan and Harry. I don't know enough about it. I really don't. Like, I don't know enough to do my due diligence on them. Royal news at all is not, really something that I know a huge amount about, really any of them. So that's okay. Sorry. Yeah, King Bob just said, Queen Denise pre-ordered Britney's book and can't wait for it to come out. Exactly. Queen Denise has great taste. Gamer Ducko said, I don't, while nodding. What would body language interpreters think of that? Is that a yes? Is that a veiled yes? Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I'm not sure where producer sister went. I have messaged and I'm like, what's going on? Give me a second. Producer sister vacated the building and now I don't know where she is. So probably on a work call, which is fine. So basically what you guys are telling me is no news stories, but just not royals. Message received. I will let you guys know. I think it's important to have lots of stuff to sorry, General Scott, I just saw your comment. I think it's important to have multiple stories to follow so things don't get like boring and stuff. General Scott. I don't believe we have any of those right now, so I think I can say with confidence that's not what's going on. But let's all not, like, we all need to learn. We need to learn from that whole thing. Sorry. A while ago, we did a funnies where we looked at Amazon reviews, funny Amazon reviews, and there was one that was a story of these gummy bears that were ordered that then caused the individual to become very, very familiar with their bathroom for an extended period of time. And then other people partook in these gummies and had a similar experience. And some of them ate far more than that person did. And the stories and the descriptions in that review are just things of legends. I don't even know how else to describe it. It's just absolutely flawless and funny. And I don't know how I got through reading that. Ray said the same thing. No, I know she did not. Sarai just said, wouldn't it be so awesome if you could interview Charlotte Dobre? Oh my gosh, I think I'd die. I think I would die. I would literally lay down dead, deceased. I love her. I watch her every day. Yeah, she's fun. She's such a fun YouTuber and also Canadian. So yeah. Molly just said, can I just say your skin looks flawless? What do you use on your skin? I use a number of things. Actually, in members only, I did a get ready with me video where I went through a lot of my skincare and my makeup and what I do for being on screen. And I can tell you a lot of what I use is I use a lot of e.l.f. I use a lot of Tarte. I use a lot of Urban Decay. Those are all kind of my jam. And one of my biggest secrets, which isn't really a secret, it's an open secret, is this product right here. This is the travel size of it. This is the Tarte Shape Tape. It is a concealer and it covers everything. It covers everything, which is why I like coat my face in it because I blush like crazy. And when you're streaming with people like Steph the Alter Nerd that love to go there and I get shy and embarrassed and I blush, Shape Tape helps me keep my dignity. So I can definitely say I use a lot of that line of makeup, and I also use I do a lot for just moisturizing my skin. That's a big thing because I have a couple skin conditions that are difficult to deal with, and that's a big foundation of what I do. So honestly, Molly, if let me double check here. Molly, you're a member, so you can check out that live stream if you would like, and it goes through everything step by step. You see it in real time, and you see how much of a beauty YouTuber I am not. So that's fun. Exactly, Katie. Goat sausage. Oh my goodness. So give me one sec, guys. Okay, producer sister is back. Everything is good. So we're going to go ahead and move into the funnies because we didn't want to do it without producer sister. No, and everybody was trying to guess where you went. And I had to clarify that you did not have any of the Amazon gummies. No, there were no Amazon gummies. There were no Amazon gummies. That did not happen. Oh, okay. Oh, Kyle. He said, I wish I had that. I used to get teased for my rosy complexion. I'm going to let you in on a secret, Kyle. When I was in high school, there were a number of guys I knew that would come to me to help them cover up stuff. And I would do it for them before school. So pimples, or redness, sometimes hickeys, all that type of stuff. So I honestly, like, I think makeup is something you do for you. And if it makes you feel better, do it. And it's really, to me, it just helps me feel like I'm putting my best foot forward. And That's what I do. Alrighty. So we take this down. And let's open up the funnies. So this is a Reddit post. Here we go. Policeman of Reddit. What is the dumbest way a criminal tried to get away from you? Oh no. Are we ready for this, guys? Are we ready? I'm ready. Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to move my mic over a little bit so I can see this better and stuff. Nearly every foot pursuit I've had has been stopped by Flora. I don't know what I've done that made Mother Nature owe me one, but every time I've chased someone, I've ended up pulling them out of a bush. One guy I had for DUI took off in the middle of a field sobriety test and ran straight into a thorn bush. That definitely sounds like something someone sober would do. Instead of going in after him, I just waited patiently while he freed himself, at which point he just walked over to me and put his hands behind his back. Comment just said, apparently you did poison ivy a solid at some point. You could say he was hedging his bets. Good criminals never trust a bush. I mean, it's kind of funny thinking that you can like run away from a situation by running into a bush with thorns. Would not recommend. 0 out of 10. Next one is, I had a friend in college who tried to run away from a bicycle cop, thinking that if he went down some stairs on the side of a hill, the cop couldn't chase him. He found out that apparently bike cops just dream of someone doing that. Seriously? So they could take that sweet police bike off-road and perform the flying tackle off a moving bike that they have practiced. I'm going to need some footage of this. I want to see that. That sounds cool. That's awesome. My friend ended up with a broken arm and we had to go to court. Could have just had a ticket for public drunkenness. Choices were made. Sorry, I have to stop here for a second. Time for a cactus. Find the nearest cactus. Lace it with chili oil. I love you, Steph. Okay. So comments were, am a bike cop. Can confirm. I don't know anything about this. I need to know more about bike cops. This is wild to me. Did anyone else know this? Sorry. Get wrecked, scrub. I made my stairs my bleep during training. Yep. You would think people would run upstairs, not go down to get away from a bike. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh man, I'd love to see that in person. Exactly. I'm with the 148 upvotes there. I want to know. I want to see it. Right. Next one. I think I've told this before. Guy robbed a store and ran with cops right behind. So he runs into a cemetery where we were burying a family member. Oh no. Well respected, known to all, a police officer for 25 years, volunteer fireman for 40. The gravesite was full of first responders in full dress uniform and fire trucks with lights flashing, and this guy runs straight in. That is a special level of stupid. Tackled to the ground right in front of my husband's elderly great-grandmother, who sums it up perfectly. Dumb bleep. That is the craziest funeral story I've ever heard. That is the craziest one right there. That beats mine. Which I've told before, and we don't have time. We do not have time. But I'm so thankful that there were other people with me at that funeral because it was an experience. So comments were, I'd like to think the officer being buried would have approved of this moment of hilarity. Yeah. A volunteer firefighter spends their entire life in service, ready to put everything on pause to protect their community. Putting their blank on pause to do the same seems like a hilarious fitting send off, which any firefighter would be proud of. I agree. All right. Next one. Are you guys doing okay? I'm seeing a lot of laughing in the chat, so I'm assuming we're happy with this. Oh. Had a guy with a warrant for CDS and burglary give me his brother's name. Guess he forgot we went to school together since kindergarten. Not that it matters, but what is CDS? Controlled dangerous substance. Okay. Thanks for the reply. Blanks are bad. Okay. Gotta have that Mr. Mackey. We gotta do Mr. Mackey. I love that episode of South Park so much. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like one of the more classic episodes of South Park of Mr. Mackey trying to teach all the kids about substances and that they're bad. That alcohol is bad. You shouldn't drink alcohol. Bleeps are bad. You shouldn't do bleeps. Well, that about wraps up my introduction. The next one. Kid had fled into a tree line, trying to hide with a boombox. I was going to say, is the boombox on? Kid couldn't find the volume switch, so he sat in 50 square feet of woods with music blaring. To be fair to me, it was getting dark. Leave the boombox and run the other way. You'd probably follow the sound and he'd be tougher to find. Some people aren't the smartest, though. I think that's kind of the theme here. Or if you did end up finding the volume switch, turn it down a notch every few seconds. Yes, almost to sound like you're moving way faster than you really are. By the time it's muted, you're gone. That's very smart. It kind of sucks that this kid did not have a friend like that commenter. Oh, man. Yeah, I think we're good. I just saw there was a super chat from Danny Scales. Thank you so much. Thank you for that super chat. It's so cute. I think it's a pear. Pretty sure it's a pear. It's cute, though. I like pears. It's like the most random thing ever. Sorry. All right. Next one. Back in the 90s, there was a fashion for trainers that had red lights in the sole heel that lit up with every step. Oh, yeah, like as in like sneakers. Yeah. Yeah, so like when you stepped, like lights went off, and now it's like a thing you can really only get in kids' shoes, but I want it. I want shoes that light up. I do. I want shoes that light up. Would anybody else get shoes that light up that are adults?
Not when you're running from the cops.
No, I mean, obviously not when you're running from the cops, producer sister, obviously, but I'm just saying in general, like, I'm sorry. I think that would be so cool. I would do that all the time. One night we had a call to a burglary, and the lad doing the burgling was wearing these trainers. He ran off across some nearby wasteland, helpfully signaling every step. Not the brightest. Not the brightest. The same thing happened to my dad when LA lights were at their peak. He was chasing a suspect, and the light up shoes made them super easy to find and catch. He also enjoyed telling stories about chasing subjects that had baggy pants and no belts. Turns out it's pretty tough to run when you're pulling your pants up the whole time. Belt. Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go forward there. I once saw someone jump the barriers at the station and get caught when his low-hanging trousers tripped him. Caught by security, face down on the station with his underwear showing. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in real life, though I felt a little sorry for him. It was an impressive initial jump, too, which made the fall funnier. He tried so hard, got so far. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. I know I just changed it, and we're going to read it. Danny, you want light up Crocs? Aren't there like, could you you know the little like the decorations you can get for Crocs, like the little plasticky things you can stick in the holes? Do any of those light up? Because you could.
Little flashlight.
There's little flashlight ones. You could do like a custom one.
There were puppy ones, like puppy Crocs with little lights in them.
Oh, That would be fun. That would be fun. I hope you find light up Crocs, Danny. Oh my goodness. Okay. My favorites are usually dumb kids like this one. Houses under construction, neighbor in a completed house says kids are inside smoking and smashing things. We show up, couple bikes in the driveway. Can hear them upstairs. It was fall, just had lots of rain. I'm guessing they saw or heard us pull up because we hear yelling and banging and then just more yelling from the backyard. 6 of them had jumped out, 10-foot patio doors into about 3 feet of mud, and we're now stuck. Is it okay? I'm imagining it like quicksand. Like that they're just, yeah, they're just like, help me. Dragged 4 of them. Hey, I'm stuck. Help, I'm stuck. Bugs Life came back. We had to do a Bugs Life reference. Caterpillar's using himself as live bait. How brave. Ah! My favorite, yeah. Okay. Dragged 4 of them to our cars where they immediately turned on their other two friends. When we went to their houses, they both tried to deny until we asked their parents to go find their shoes and guaranteed that they would be covered in clay mud. They all got hefty tickets because they were not blank heads. In reality, they had just come in outside for us. They would have been let go with warnings because there was no damage to the house. Yeah, but I mean, jumping in the mud was not a wise choice. Very wise, not a wise choice. Oh my goodness. Okay. I once had a group of teenagers smashing a tram stop in a city center. They saw me and ran onto the oncoming tram, thinking I couldn't keep up with it and that they would be safe. The tram driver saw what they had been doing on approach, and once he pulled up, just stayed stationary and locked the doors from the cabin once they were inside. Okay. Teenage kids looked white as ghosts when I stood smiling on the other side of the door. Parents of the said teenagers looked even worse. Oh. They think the train is some kind of automated thing that can't be stopped. Hey, driver, stop. Okay. Yo, homies, to Bel Air. I pulled. Oh gosh. I waited for a train, and when it came near, the train's logo said Amtrak, and it had a speed demon in gear. If anything, I could say this train would derail, but I thought, nah, forget it. Yo, homies, home to Bel Air. My goodness. All right. How many more producers? One more after this? I think so. I'm on slide 10.
2 more.
Yeah, I have 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So my aunt is a cop, and she tells this story wherever she goes. She got in a call about a very drunk man singing in the street with an open bottle of beer. She arrives and sees him standing in the middle of the road. She turns on her lights to signify she is in a police car, and he runs for it, or attempts to. He runs to a house on her left and then hits the mailbox and falls over. He proceeds to get up and then run to the car where he attempts to get in the passenger side. After a couple of seconds, he squats down a bit and bangs on the window and says, "You've got to help me. There's a cop chasing me, and I think they're coming this way." She proceeded to unlock the rear doors, and he gets in, and then she locks them again and takes him to the precinct. She proceeded to unlock the rear door. Oh, sorry. I read that sentence. He spent the night in the holding cell and went home with a warning for being disruptive at 3 a.m. and being drunk in a public place. Apparently, he didn't remember it at all the next morning. Sure, I got a place you can hang out. Get in. I'm your Uber driver. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right, last one. Not a cop, but got a couple good stories. I once saw someone run about 10 meters into the sea and shouted at cops, "You can't arrest me. This is a Coast Guard's jurisdiction." What in the Daryl Brooks? Oh my gosh. It was a winter's night and below freezing, and they waited 5 minutes before he came sprinting back, begging for the warmth of the cop car. Oh my gosh. So just quoting a winter's night and it's below freezing. You could drop this bit and he would still eventually need to come back to land. Just leave 2 officers there. When he finally comes back to land, throw him in the car. What was his plan? To live in the sea? Become a seal. I was going to say he was going to become a mermaid. He just decided, I'm going to be a merman. Merman. Become a seal. This is probably how seals evolved. Dinosaur. Mammal, you ate my eggs. Come back so I can smoosh you. Mammal runs into ocean. Yo, dinosaur, I'm going to live out here. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, that's them. Oh gosh. That was the dumbest way a criminal tried to get away from police. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Can we get some hearts up in the chat for producer sister for putting that together for us? I think there was lots of laughter. I think we all enjoyed that. I think we're good. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you, producer sister. All right. Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to come up. There was one comment. Yeah, I loved the what in the Daryl Brooks. Well, I mean, because he was so obsessed with like the jurisdiction stuff, right? Like that was his big thing that he yelled about all the time. It was, is it lawful law? And then the jurisdiction thing. That whole trial is wild. And it was so twisted because it was like the actual trial, like what he was on trial for was absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. And I hope he is in prison for the rest of his life. But wow, have I never seen a case like that ever. Ever, ever, ever. And it just got weirder and weirder and weirder every day. Yep. 100%. 100%. Oh my goodness. I just saw Shauna, you didn't have to do that. Shauna just said, thanks for the stream. It's been a godsend while I'm sick with the. Oh no. No, you got the Rona? No. No, Rona. Careful out there, guys. Be careful. I don't want to get into a whole thing about it because I know people have opinions. People have opinions, but I can say I had it just after Christmas last year. If you go on my Instagram, you can hear like a voice message I left while I had it. It sucked. It was really, really bad. So I hope you're doing okay, Shauna. Really, really do. My heart goes out to you. Thank you for your support. And I hope you are feeling better very, very soon. And you're being good to yourself right now. I'm just a simple country lawyer. Yeah, the sovereign citizen thing. Yeah, with Daryl. Yeah, it was wild. He was so, yeah, and that was the thing, making his forts. This man literally made forts around himself of like bankers' boxes. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. Oh. Yeah, Shauna, it sucks. It does suck. It does suck. I wish I could like bring you a beverage right now. I drank a lot of ginger ale and orange juice when I had it, and I found that actually to be really it kind of helped a bit with the throat, and then just kept getting lots of vitamin C into me. But it was awful though. It was awful. I don't wish that on anyone. Well, I think we are going to wind down. We've been going for close to 2 hours, which is usually how long I try to do these streams. I'm just going to take a sip. But this is usually when I like open the floor for questions, for anything that people want to ask or talk about, and I could just kind of have some fun for the last few moments before the stream ends. What was I going to say? Yeah, Omicron was not fun. Oh gosh, fever. No, that sounds scary. That sounds scary. I had what was being referred to as the Kraken. Sucked. It sucked. Just waiting for the chat to catch up. See, here's a weird thing with like, so I use StreamYard, right? Because I find it makes it really easy for me to do these streams, but it's always like I see the comments on YouTube, but they take a few seconds to actually transfer into StreamYard. It's not instantaneous. Um, General Scott, are you going to be on Wednesday? I am planning on it. I'll have to take a look and figure out what we're going to talk about. Because I was hoping we would have more Ruby stuff going on after the court hearing, but I don't think that that's going to happen. So I will take a look at stories. We'll do. I think I'll try to do something, unless something happens with my health, as always. That I'm trying to be able to commit to that as a schedule. Yes, Ray, same time. Yes, I'm trying to do them. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I'm Eastern Standard Time. So for me, these streams, I try to have them start at around 2 p.m. And part of the reason I do that is because I think it's not too early for people that are on the West Coast, and it's not too late for people that are in Europe. And I try to just to have it be a bit like a time that people can try to join into as much as possible. And it's like I don't want to do it at a time that people can't join. And I also know a lot of people like to listen to this kind of thing like while they work and stuff. So I try to make that a thing for you guys, because I think if I mean I worked in corporate environments for a long time, and I think if I was still in that environment, I would be listening to like YouTube videos all day long to keep myself company at work. So I try to think about that. Oh, Joanne just said I finally caught a live and now it's over. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, it's we'll be done shortly, and I mean, I much love to the replay crew as well. I cannot believe how many people have watched the last stream that we did. It's very much surprised me. Let me double check. Terry, welcome. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. I'm so happy to see you there. It's wonderful to see you. I see you often, and I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Joanne, thank you for the super chat. I'll be here for the next one. Oh, I'd love to see you. But I mean, like, if you can't make it to the stream, like, replay's still here, and much love to everybody on that as well. Yeah, same elf time, same elf channel. Take a look here. Oh my gosh, long live George Harrison. Thank you for the super chat. That is incredibly generous of you. I'm just trying to see the super sticker because it doesn't come through. Oh, you're amazing with the doggy. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I hope you guys have had a good time. Let me double check here. I was trying to help my daughter pack for uni. It's her birthday today, and we haven't got too far now. Sorry, I didn't say Billy Cat at the beginning. It's from Billy Cat. We haven't got too far now. Now got her hooked on your stream. Yay, lol. Hi, Billy Cat's daughter. It's nice to meet you. I hope that you are having a good time, and I hope that uni is great for you. And that you learn lots and you make lots of friends and you have a great time. And yeah, I think that's great. That's awesome. And it's her birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you're having a great day. That's awesome. And I'm glad I got to be a part of it. And I hope that I made it a little bit better. Okay. I think we are going to start to wind down. I'm going to echo King Bob here and say, don't forget to hit that like button before you go. I'd really appreciate it. And again, if you have not subscribed, I would encourage you to please consider doing so. I really want to up that count. I want to grow this community and do this more. And I know part of that is consistency, and that's what I am trying to commit to do. And I hope to be able to bring you guys lots of lives in the future that we can have lots of fun, lots of laughs, real conversation, and just a community where people can come together and it can be a safe place for everybody. So that's always what I try to do. Just checking here. Thank you so much for the support, you guys. It's just incredible. You guys have been so wonderful to me today, and I really do appreciate it. Alrighty. So again, I am going to echo one thing we said kind of in the middle of the stream, that one thing I am planning on starting to set up for members only, this would be a Space Angels exclusive stream, would be going through memes, because you all know how much I love my memes. If you watched any of my videos when I did those more often than streaming, I prefer streaming because I find honestly the videos that I was doing beforehand, it took me like 8-9 hours to get them all done. And that included like the research time and everything else. So now it's like I do the research time and it still takes me a couple of hours, but then I come on here and I get to give you guys so much more content through live stream with the same amount of time. And I think that ends up being better. And I know so many of you guys love just the process, like the experience of a live stream and being able to communicate. And I love being able to communicate with you guys. But when I did a lot of those videos, I would usually try to, if I read something and it reminded me of a meme, I would try to insert it in. Um, and I miss doing that. So I want to start doing that more. And I want to pick out those memes that work. So that's going to be something that I hope um my community will be willing to help with. I just saw Denise. Thank you so much for the super chat. What do you meme? It is a good game. It is a good game. It's amazing. Um, I'm a little bit partial to Cards Against Humanity. Hi, Kim's parents. Yeah, that's you know what? That's super sweet. Nosferatu, I hope I said that right. I hope I'm saying that right. He just said, they just said, with us, you can just freestyle it too. Honestly, that is something that I hope I can build the confidence that I can do that. I really do. But I'm very much a perfectionist. And I really like to be in a place where I know what I'm talking about, that when people ask questions that I can answer them, and I can answer them from a place of really knowing what I'm talking about. Um and I hate feeling unprepared. And that's like a personal thing for me. And I sometimes I feel like if I don't bring that, if I don't bring that quality, if I don't bring that knowledge, that people won't be interested. And I know that that's not necessarily true, but I think a lot of us have things that we do to help us feel more prepared and more confident in what we're doing. And I think sometimes I probably overdo it, in all honesty. Um, but I'd rather do too much than not enough. And I always end up kind of in that like weird place. So I appreciate that though, because it helps me feel like I don't necessarily have to be completely perfect with everything, which is nice. So thank you for that. It's just that you're doing it right now, hun, and I can just be Cat, no problem. Okay, Cat. I will try to remember that to the best of my ability. It may take me a few times. I have the memory of a goldfish. Um, and I did also just want to say thank you so much for you guys just being here for the stream. I know I was a little bit scatterbrained at points during today's stream. One thing I've been honest about with you guys, if you've been following me for a while, is my health and all those things. And good news, bad news. Last night I had a migraine. Migraines suck. My migraines are terrible. And we are working on getting them under control and treating them and everything else. And I know many of you struggle with migraines as well, which is part of why I'm sharing this. But it was the first one I have had in months, which was super nice. But it means that I always find the day after I have a harder time reading, I have a harder time remembering information. But so the scatterbrainness is from that. And I really appreciate you guys sticking through with me. And giving me that time to get my words together. And I hope that I have done an okay job and I haven't been too slurry. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly, Sarai. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep going. You got to keep going. Um, it be what it be. Life be what it be. Thank you very much, Long Live George Harrison. You have been so supportive today. I hope you haven't. I'm glad you enjoyed the live. I hope to see you again. She's also just you're so funny. You're so funny. And I know a lot of people love talking to you in the chat. And I'm so glad that you're here. So yeah, thank you so much. I mean, there's so many of you here that I recognize. You got Katie and Denise and Billy Cat, General Scott and Kyle and Ray, Joanne, King Bob, Soki. Welcome to Jesus Loves You that joined today. Still checking here. Merle is here. Terry is here. Purple Rose Gamer is here. Just so many of you guys. Amandalorian is here, which is an awesome username. I love that one so much every time I see it. Thank you guys so much for all being here. Aaron Cooper, I see. You guys are wonderful. And I really, really appreciate you guys. So I think I am going. What? Oh, we got a. Oh, Rebecca, thank you. Rebecca's here and she's been here for 4 months and you made it too. That's awesome. Thank you, Rebecca, for being here. I hope you guys have had a good day. So I am planning on coming back on Wednesday. If I'm not going to be back on Wednesday, I will let you guys know. I put out a lot of my more personal notes or things like that on my Instagram. So if you have Instagram and you'd like to follow me, you can get that link through my link tree and see that. And I also put kind of like funny posts there all the time. Also, Michael Nothing is here. Yes, absolutely. Ladybug 13 member for 11 months. Thank you for being here and supporting me. It's very kind of you. And King Bob, I'm never going to forget Linda. I'm not going to forget Linda. I can't forget Linda. She's Linda. For the record, Your Honor. Linda. By the way, if you are not subscribed to Linda, please do so. Her link is in my description. For the record, Your Honor, she makes great content, and I love her. All right. I'm going to wind down now. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If on the off chance I don't speak with you. Oh, Soraya, of course, you're not Chop Liver. You're not Chop Liver. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you guys all for being here. We're going to play the outro. Much love to everybody. And I am planning on seeing you guys on Wednesday. If not, I will see you soon. Much love. Bye, guys.